Welcome YouTube, this is Marilox. Today we're going to be talking about Christmas Machérie. Now, Christmas Machérie has been announced today that she'll be coming out in 2 days, which is pretty surprising. We did not have that raid, but right now we're going to be pretty much going down a breakdown of all of her stats, her TMR. We're going to be comparing her to similar units such as Glaciella, Kain, Victoria. We're going to be talking about builds, we're going to be talking about team builds, and we're going to be also talking about the EX level 120, what to expect, should we be worried, and is it worth it? Alright, let's get to it. So, Christmas Machérie, right? She is going to be our 4th UR fire-based unit, which is amazing. Basically, man oh man, we need fire units to counter that ice meta that's going on right now. Everyone knows Algrius, Laswell, Gilgamesh all have been terrorizing the guild battle scene, so very nice to have an additional fire unit to help out, right? Knock them down a peg. Bam. Now, she does have the standard Dragoon movement template, which is 3 move, 4 jump. So she is a little slow, right? She won't get across the battlefield that fast, but at least she can jump over those walls, jump up a cliff, right? She can definitely go where she wants, just at a slow, steady pace. I said that she's a Dragoon already. With her sub-jobs though, Viking and Ranger. Viking, you're not going to be really using it too much with other than the support ability Viking Knowledge. Viking Knowledge has that 12 HP up, 24 attack up, and these are all base values. She has high in both, so that's a very nice thing to have for her. Now, other than that, the counters, the abilities, kinda. But the more exciting thing is Ranger. Ranger, everything's good about Ranger. It has good supports, it has good counters, it has actually great counters, because let me tell you something, love it or hate, we have reflex with her. And that's scary, because 15% of the time, or on average, it's gonna just ruin somebody's day, right? She's gonna proc it, and someone's gonna be like, well, there goes my high AP cost attack, just worthless. And then she has Sharp Shot, she has Barrage, she has a lot of really strong attacks. And that's amazing. We're most likely going to be putting her as the Ranger sub-job for the majority of her career, right? So, and then, because she is a Dragoon, she also has spear weapons. Boy oh boy, you know what we just farmed a lot of, right? We just farmed a lot of wind spears. With that wind spear, I know a lot of people have gotten their +5 UR wind spear, and that is amazing. That is a very strong weapon. There's a lot of people that have also farmed 2, or I even know some crazy folks that have farmed 3 of them. That's a lot of wind spears. You can make, that is one of the strongest spears in the game. Best weapon in slot, with the exception of Victoria with her ice lance. But you can arm a army of Dragoons or Lancers with that, and that's a really solid thing. Definitely yay to having a good weapon finally for Lancers and Dragoons. And unfortunately, unlike what the picture shows of her with her flowing dress, right, she actually, and a little ribbon on her hair, she actually has the Dragoon armor set, so heavy plate mail, helmets, and accessories. Very opposite of what the art and what the 3D model is gonna detail. So let's go over stats with Christmas Machérie. Now this is Christmas Machérie level 99, all jobs level 15. That's it. There's nothing else being added here to it. Now, she does have the global mastery on this. Now, what the global mastery does is it's a second mastery. So the first mastery, which JP got, which was increased ice resistance by 10%. That's pretty solid. That's pretty strong. And then she got a 10% agility buff, which is pretty strong. Her base agility wasn't the best at 52, so it bumped it up by 5. And yeah, But however, the global mastery came out, and that global mastery gives a lot. For all fire units in that party, including herself, she gets a 10% HP buff and a 15 fire elemental boost on all of her fire attacks, right? Which is all of her abilities. That's good right off the bat. She's a very high health bruiser-esque dragoon, unlike like Victoria, which was a very glass cannon like dragoon. Now, she also gains another 10% ice resist and another 10% agility buff. Now, that's really important because that puts her in the threshold of being rather fast and compared to her rather clumsy old self in JP. And then she does get a tiny little buff. She gets, I believe, a 10% defense penetration modifier, which is, that's not bad. It just gets her, through a little bit more damage. It's not gonna be crazy high damage, but it's still more damage, which is super nice. So with that being said, all these things that I have added up, right, in the center of the screen, this is everything that she will get in global. So in the mastery effect, it gives her 244 extra HP. That's super nice. It boosts her up to 2,766. That's pretty respectable for anybody who doesn't have any like vision cards, armor, espers on, right? And then also, interestingly enough, it boosts her agility up to 62. Now, her 52 base agility, that is a little slow, but however, just getting 10 evasion plus on there boosts her up to 62, which by itself, 62 agility puts her at one of the faster units in this game right now. So that's really important. That's like one of the key things. And then if we go down to the to this screen right over here, this is where things get interesting, because Gilgamesh, Mahagrius, and Laswell, she now has a 40% ice resistance. So that means all those attacks coming at you, you have roughly about a 40% modifier that's resisting all their attacks, right? Katetsu, you got Agrius's like stop blades, or whatever the attacks those are. Just all those are just going to be doing way less damage. And that's really good for her survivability and just using her as an anti-ice unit. Other than that, she has that 20% slash resist and 20% magic resist, which is definitely really good. However, the only unit that she really has to watch out for, I think, is missile units in general, so any type of gunners, but Rosa will still be able to damage her pretty heavily with her like ice arrows and whatnot because of her negative 22 missile resist. Other than that, she gains the 50% bonus to resisting immobilize and paralyze. Not the most like common things. And I believe she gains a 10% resist to stomp, which can be pretty helpful. I will just say this on a limb: you will not be building her with a high faith build. 50 at the max if you're going to be throwing Oldoa's or you can't throw Oldoa's TMR. If you're throwing the illusionary bells on her, and you might want to, because in this next session we're going to be talking about her abilities, passives, and counters, right? So let's get back to that. Alright guys, let's go talk about the supports. Now, the support ability, there's only really one like dodge, and there's only one must-have. The other few are actually pretty interesting and very situational. However, they all have their really good uses. The only one that is a must-dodge is jump +1. Don't take it, just forget about it. Now, that aside, we go to the must-have, and I really think Viking Tips is must-have. Again, that 12% HP buff, and then the 24 attack buff, super good. That helps. Just remember the HP is only by base HP percentage, and attack is only by base attack percentage. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't include your weapons. Now, these 4, they're situational. If you want to go more tanky, like, yeah, you can run HP plus, or you can try to defend yourself against missile units, because she is weak against those missile units by 20% by increasing her resistances up 15, so she's only at -5. But those, I'm kind of, I can skip those both. The 2 that I'm really interested in is Hunter's Knowledge and Concentration. Now, both of these buff her in a very odd way. First of all, Hunter's Knowledge, if you're running that Ranger sub, which I really recommend, you're just getting a +1 range on your sharp shot and on your barrage, which is really strong. And then you just get that flat 25% accuracy, right? So you can actually land way more hits on those semi-evasion comps whenever your unit decides not to do sharp shot. So that's really damn good. 25 accuracy, nothing to joke around. But now, let's go to concentration, because this actually helps out Dragoon quite a bit. Now, everyone thinks activation time. That's supercharge, that's mega charge, whatever. I don't care about that. However, jumps actually use the same mechanic. So that will make your jump 15% faster to land. So your character will actually use more jumps, because the AI will not jump on a target that's already moved. Also, your sharp shots and your barrages will have that 12 missile attack advantage on it, right? So I'm going to be playing around a lot between Hunter's Knowledge and Concentration. Oh boy, there's a lot that I can actually try to get my head wrapped around in that. I just need a lot more testing in that. Now, if we go to counters, right down here, I'm going to back it up just a little bit so we can see the range. There's 2 counters that I really feel are the only options. Sorry, Viking. Viking, you just have a horrible passive. We're going to skip on that. Now, I feel that Reflex. I know it says close out here. It's Reflex. Reflex is really damn strong. That's just your get out of jail for free card. I feel that's one of the strongest counters in the game, and that should be taken, right? Maybe in PvE, that Dragoon ability should be taken, because at that point you can kill enemy mobs that come up to you, right? You can kill them, you can get a little bit of health. That's really cool. So definitely, if you're going to be mob clearing, I think the Dragoon counter is the best ability. But almost everything else, Reflex is the perfect thing. Because let's be honest, love it or hate it, Reflex is goddamn strong. Let's ignore these EX buffs for now, and let us talk about the main job stuff. Well, you get your basic jump. That's boring. No one really cares about that. You get your basic buff, which is a 42% increase in attack. That's really nice, right? So you pop that on. She'll do that rather early, and she'll do that because it's one of her only buffs, unless you go to the Ranger sub job. So 3 turns, 42 attack, pretty good. The EX one later on, it buffs that a little bit more, but a little bit more onto that later. Now, she has horizontal jump, a really good 5 range attack, right? Jump 5, or the cooldown or activation time goes down, and bam, you hit a target with a 220 modifier jump. That is really dirty. She gets vertical jump. Vertical jump is just a very high height range, and it does a little bit more damage. Honestly, with this, I would keep it on, because chances are, if a target's just coming down like that, you might want to just use this and not worry about using a horizontal jump, because you only get 3 of each of the casts. Dragon Dive, that's your AoE jump. That does a lot of damage. We all know how strong that is with Victoria, with back in the day, Stern, Dragoon Stern would just totally wreck people with that. And then we're going to ignore this, because that's an EX ability as well. And the reason why we don't do passive Viking is because of this right here. This is just, yeah, we just skip this. because it just increases your move and jump +1, which she doesn't need the jump, but she could use the move. But this, we can pass on that. Viking sub. This is an okay sub as well. However, the one big bad thing about this is that the attack boost conflicts with your Dragoon attack boost, right? So you can't just be like, okay, I want 42 attack here, and then an additional 40, then you'll get 82. No, that 42 will always override that 40. So you can't add on to it. It's kind of like, double tapping. You can't really do with that too much. You'd gain that +10 evasion, or sorry, +10 defense, which would be okay. But I just think this is an easy skip for me. You gain whole body throw. The only really good thing that you get is a launch ability, and launch is comically fun. But let's talk about the Ranger ability, and oh boy, did I just mess this up. Let me just move myself way over here. So, Ranger, righto. Actually, we'll just do it like this, and we'll play around. Work in progress. So, Ranger, Poison Arrow, Garbo, we don't need that. Charge Attack, Garbo, don't need that. Vigilance, it does boost that evasion rate up, but I don't know, I feel like you can just skip that as well. Now we get into the more interesting things. So we get Sharp Shot, which is aim on here. That's one of the best abilities in the game. Yeah, right over there. Move myself right over there. So Sharp Shot, really good. You get that you get that 5 range, possibly 6 if you do Ranger lore. So that's definitely good. You get Supercharge, you can easily skip that as well, but then you also get Barrage. Barrage is, as we know, really damn strong. So, and then we gotta talk about her LB, which is the Holy Night Gift. Guys, I think this is a skip. Just turn it off. Don't worry about it. Save yourself some money. Save yourself some limit burst pots, because all it really does, it's a low powered attack, right? This is not a strong modifier. Your horizontal jumps and your vertical jumps do more damage than this, but it just increases your defense by 20. And then it costs a crazy 43 AP, but it is a 2-hitter. So you could use it in raids. I don't know. I think we're gonna have to pass on that one. Let me just move myself right back here, and we're gonna go to the TMR now, because I lost my place at the very end of that last segment. So Gifter's Ribbon, that's Christmas Machrie's TMR. It's an okay TMR stat-wise: 342 HP, 8 defense, 5 spirit, 9 critical rate. So that's pretty okay. Now, the best thing about it is that you can equip it with most jobs, but the ability on this is actually really good for supports, for a supporting unit. Now, oops, punch my mic. Now, what I mean by that is if you're running a double Dragoon comp, right, you can only give the illusionary bells to one person. The other person cannot wear a TMR such as the Aldoa's belt. They can wear maybe Glacella's TMR, which would give them AP 20 to themselves, but it wouldn't help out the other two, especially like the tank if you're not tanking, right? So what you could do with your faster Dragoon, that's probably going to be acting first, throw them on the wing, give them this TMR, have them activate first, and then the auto will run them in between your tank and your other Dragoon with your illusionary bells, and they will activate this ability. And then everyone, your whole entire party, will gain 15% of their total AP back on that turn, which is actually really damn good when you think about it. Like, you're gonna have such a stronger opening than most people will. So, and it will keep a fast Dragoon, such as like Victoria, from outrunning your Christmas Machérie with her like 4 speed, right? So, definitely a nice thing to have. Speaking of Victoria, let's go compare Christmas Machérie with the other big spear users, right? So let's get to it. Alright guys, let's start comparing units. Koopa wanted to jump up, so she's going to be up with us for a little bit. So we're going to start comparing units. We have Christmas Macherie, Victoria, Kane, and Glaceella. All three of them will do something similar with Christmas Macherie, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, also side note, these are all level 99 JP stats. So Christmas Macherie does not gain her HP buff and her fire attack up and her defense penetration up. So I went ahead and just added a few little what I feel must-haves, right? So obviously I had Viking tips for her, so she's getting a little bit of HP plus on that, a little bit of attack. But if you did notice, she's actually the lowest attack out of the group. We have Victoria with self-sacrifice, and she is going up to 539. We have Kane with Viking tips and Pride of the Dragoon Captain sitting at 565 attack. And then we have Glaceella. I didn't mean to actually click that one, but she actually doesn't have any support abilities that give her attack. So she's just naturally very, very strong, right? Even without that, even with Viking tips, Christmas Macherie, she isn't as strong as Glaceella when it comes to actually punching something, right? Luckily, with the global patch, she's going to get that plus 15 fire attack, which is going to help her damage out. And then she's going to get the little bit of the defense penetration 10, which will also help her out a little bit. But other than that, we can start comparing, right? So she is pretty sturdy, right? Obviously with that 40 ice, she's going to really be strong against the ice meta. She has that 20/20 magic resist, so she's going to be a little bit sturdy with a high HP. Victoria, on the other hand, if she gets touched, she's dead. Low HP, low resistances across the board, especially with magic. And you're most likely going to want to run her with a high faith because you want her LB to give charm, right? So, that being said, we now go to Kane. Kane, he's also very high HP, high attack, and he's just very middle line defense-wise, unless you actually go give him some armor and whatnot. So, I don't think he's going to be super tanky, but he does have Immortal Spirit or Guts, which is very strong. And then we have Glaceella. Glaceella is also very tanky. What's kind of a fun thing about maybe running a Victoria and a Glaceella and a Christmas Macherie build is that both of those units actually have 100% hit moves. So you're actually extremely safe against evasion with this comp, right? You have Glaceella with her Sure Strike, and then you have Christmas Macherie with Sharp Shot. So if you're really afraid of the evasion meta, just equip these two. Not only do you have a way to really do heavy damage against tanks in general, just because you have the Pierce, but if you have any stinking evade units such as Vanera or just that evade comp with Little Lilu, just bring these guys, and they'll just end their lives pretty fast. So that's it with comparing those units. It's just a very short list. But I think you can build a double Dragoon comp or a Valkyrie with a Dragoon comp in so many different ways. Just having two Wind Spears now really opens up the fun and possibilities that we all have. Alright guys, so here's a build for Macherie that I would probably be using on day one. I'd have to still modify it a little bit, but I feel like this was going to actually help her out quite a bit. Now, we're not going to really worry about stats too much, but we can already see that with a maxed out Wind Spear, we are getting close to 1,000 attack, which is pretty good. Note that this is a critical spear as well, and we are using an Ifrit card, which will increase that attack by that much, right? Due to the translation thing on my browser, it only says that he is he is Resonance 1, but don't worry, he's actually Resonance 10. So with that being said, we do have Viking lore, but that's the only thing we do have on him. So the typical build I was going to do for Machérie is I was going to give her the wind lance, because obviously we just got it, so we might as well use it. I was going to give her an armor of light with a spirit side, right? So that would increase her magic resist up to 28, which is pretty solid. Giving her illusionary bells, just so she goes haywire with all the crazy skills that we have. And then giving her both Ifrit and then the Ifrit card. Now the Ifrit card is really good. It increases the fire attack by 10, which is really good because she's fire. This gets a buff, and then her whole entire party gets increased by 50%. Now I'm not saying that Titan is not better. You can use whatever you got, right? If you got a max out Ifrit, use that. If you got a max out Titan, use that, because that's also really good. So you got a lot of different options for cards, right? It isn't like Kain, where if you didn't get Demon Wall, you're really sad. The cool thing about Christmas Machérie is that she has a bunch of cards available to her, which you can then use to your advantage, right? So that's nice. And of course, the good thing about Ifrit is at the moment he is very suited for Machérie in general. It feels like this card is built around Machérie, right? So pretty much what we're looking at is +4 accuracy. Then we do that +15 pierce attack, that +7% attack, and then we have a bit of ice killer, right? +15 ice killer goes a real long ways to killing ice units with her. So kind of solidifies. Oh, and there's another 10 resistance for that. So now she's at 50 resist against ice. So definitely good at killing ice and protecting against ice. And that's pretty much my build. Obviously you could swap it out. You could put Titan on here, both, right? Because Titan gives a pierce up. And the Titan card is just amazing, guys. But the one cool thing about Ifrit is once the EX does come out, I know, I didn't say I would talk about it, but once you get that and max it out, right, you can then just increase the fire attack up by 25, which is pretty awesome. And then give her a little bit extra, right? You may, okay, I'll just give her a little bit of critical resist. But hey, there's a fast little upgrade just for the EX 3-star Ifrit. So that's pretty fun. So let's go head off to team comps. We're going to talk a little bit about team builds. So right away, I just want to say, going to be talking about 3-man formats. I added Glaciella and I added Kain just to kind of represent 2 different options you could take with Christmas Machérie. And they both have very different playstyles, right? All 3 of these can work. They're all amazing units. But if we look down, I didn't actually fill in armor slots because at this point it's whatever armor you're really going against. That's whatever meta you're going against. But for right now, we only have a few constants, right? We are using Ifrit, we are using Titan, and we are using Odin. And if you got Kain, hopefully you got the Demon Wall, right? So let's just say Kain didn't exist right now, right? If you're using a Warrior of Light, Machérie, Glaciella build, that's really good. You'd give Glaciella because she is very fast, you'd probably give Glaciella the ribbon, right? And then you would employ that first tactic, right? You'd give her the +4 movement. She would move in between Warrior of Light and Machérie. She'd pop that TMR, so everyone gains that benefit. And then she didn't also just run up real far up. She's with the team. Second turn, Machérie will move up slow. Warrior of Light will move up slow. Then, Glaciella will actually move up to 4. If there's anyone to attack, she might attack. If not, most likely at that point, Christmas Machérie will attack, and then Warrior of Light will just keep on marching his way up there, right? We don't care about him too much. He's just the distraction. Let people hit him first, right? Now, it is a little bit cool to say that with his, he does have Dragoon sub. I don't recommend Dragoon sub on him though, because when he's gone, everyone else is gonna get hit in the face, which is bad, right? I would prefer if our super big tank gets hit in the face more often, right? He has a recovery move, she has reflex, and she don't. So, best if these two don't take a hit, but they are very sturdy, right? We gave Odin to her, so she has all that slash resistant human killer. We gave the Odin card to Warrior of Light, so bam, extra resist on single targets. And on Kane, we gave him Demon Wall, right? And basically, one or the other, either card will help out the whole entire team. Demon Wall will only help out so much with Warrior of Light in terms of his counter, right? Because he has that draining counter, which is Pierce attack up, which is definitely really good. Other than that, I think these are pretty much the teams I'd want. We could also use Victoria in this team as well, but at that point I'd have to kind of be like, okay, we'd probably give her the ribbon as well, or we'd probably give her the ribbon because she's faster, right? And then probably keep the same type of build. But other than that, we didn't build them out too much. We just want to kind of focus on high damage, pierce attacks, let's go. And just choose whatever you want to do for your meta, right? Because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. What unit just came out? What element type? Obviously, if a new lightning unit Nivru came out, maybe it's not the best that you bring Glaciella, because Glaciella will die really easy to Nivru. But then again, like I said, it depends on meta. Alright guys, let's talk about the EX, because I said that we'd talk about that. Not only does it buff up all of her base stats, which is really good, that's what the level 120 does, but it upgrades 2 abilities, 1 buff, one jump, and then it gives her a whole entire new jump as well. So let's just dip right into it. First, let's talk about the buff. Basically, it gives the 42% attack buff a defensive add-on as well, right? 15 defense added to that. So she becomes a little bit more tanky, but funny enough, I feel like her LB at this point, there we go. Her LB becomes extremely irrelevant. There's even more, there's no reason to even turn this LB on. Just leave it off once EX comes up. It's just gone. So anyways, let me just slap that right back. And so we got 2 other attacks. One, it upgrades horizontal jump, which is this, right? A 5 ranged attack, to lock on jump, which is a 6 range, so it adds on 1 more. The damage stays the same, the AP stays the same, the cast time stays the same. However, the special thing is, as the name states, it locks onto the opponent, so they cannot run away from this. They move, they will still get hit. The only way that they can dodge it is if maybe they're a Laswell and they put Mirage on it, if they're another Dragoon and they jump up, if a reflex procs, right? It's one of those. But other than that will hit. And then we can talk about Drain Dive. Drain Dive seems actually really cool. It kind of goes in with her bruiser nature, right, where she just wants to keep on living. So it doesn't do as much damage as all the other jumps, right? It does the same amount as Dragon Dive, but it's a single target. It absorbs 30% of the damage done to the target, but it also decreases their defense down by 25. It's a really decent tank killer. So you do that first, and then the other Dragoon hits for way harder, right? So it's like a 1-2 punch with that. I could see this being used. It's also cheaper than most of the other abilities. That's a very important thing to know. It is 2 AP cheaper than the other jumps, and 6 AP cheaper than Dragon Dive. So definitely an interesting thing to say about that. Now, other than that, will she be worth it? I think she will, especially with the global buffs. She's now our second unit that has the fire party enhancement buff. The other unit that we know about is Lardo, or whatever his name is, but he has that buff as well, and he's a really top tier unit in JP right now. So once we get him out, I think these two will actually pair very well together. So it's something that we need to just keep an eye on. And from what I heard in JP from some of my JP friends is that there's a few people already that have her maxed out, right? Machrie's 120 maxed out with all of her stuff done. And in the top guild battles, even though like it's mostly dominated by Yunas and whatnot, there's still the few people that do have Machéries. They're picking their targets really wise, and they're getting 6 stars. They're not crashing, right? As long as they like target, like people that are weak, such as like Agrius, which is still a very strong unit in JP right now, and just weak units in comparison. She is a Dragoon, Warrior of Light's weak against piercing. They find someone who doesn't have pierce resist. You're gonna have a good time. You're gonna wipe them out. So anyways, that's pretty much my little breakdown. I am sorry that I didn't go into more details about builds. I don't have the unit, so I feel a little uncomfortable trying to go more in depth with my builds, right? I have to test it out. I have to see how her AI reacts, because I'm not familiar with a Dragoon / Hunter. I know there's one out there, Sosha, but I haven't really used her, right? So other than that, guys, oops, poked my microphone. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys ever want to watch me live on Twitch, my Twitch link will be below. Also, I know some people are going to yell at me if I don't do this, so I do have a Twitch affiliate link. That's also going to be below. So if you buy Amazon coins, hey, I do get a cut from that as well. It's a win-win. Yeah. Anyways, enough of that plug. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again later, and I hope that there's many more videos to come. So, thanks guys. Talk to you later.